What's up, everybody? Doug here. This was the episode that was supposed to come out last week, but I got sick, and just by the time I was well again, I was like, but basically, this is me and my friend Leo. We're talking about Resident Evil 3 and Survivor, and with a little bit of a couple tangents here and there, and some technical difficulties, which are going to be repeated in the next episode. So, this week's episode, we're going to have Resident Evil 3 and Code Veronica. No, Resident Evil 3 and Survivor. And then next week, we're going to have Resident Evil 4 First Impressions. Well, I want to say the remake of 4. First Impressions, the remake. And then we're also going to go ahead and rank Code Veronica and Survivor 2. And a little bit of tangents in that one as well. So I hope you like the episode and enjoy.
Hey,
Hello? Hey!
how you been doing, man?
Oh, good. How about you?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah. What time is it over there?
7:23.
Oh, so you haven't gone into work yet.
Oh no,
Well, let me
not
tell you,
yet.
I'm glad to be out of that work day and doing this podcast.
Don't make it sound worse for me.
So I was thinking, and literally, I had this. Uh, I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna call it a brainchild, uh, because as I was, when you're the person that creates the anchor link, uh, you're left with this little jingle while you're waiting for other people to come into the room.
Yeah.
And as I was waiting, I was like, we haven't decided which one we're gonna do first yet. So what I kind of just had the idea for it was we're gonna do both of them in one go. If that's good, if
Uh,
that's cool with you.
Let me check how much time we have after like our first one, because I do actually need to cook afterwards.
Oh, it's okay. It's not gonna be long at all.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, so first off, let's get the elephant in the room. Let's talk about Resident Evil Survivor.
You mean the best game ever?
Okay, so I love Resident Evil. I've always loved the series since I played 4 when it came out on the GameCube. And
Yeah.
I always thought that people were just being a bunch of little whiny babies, saying the good game's terrible, the game's terrible. Jesus Christ, this game is so bad.
Yeah, because you're being a little baby about it.
I can't tell you how. Okay, so how I've been doing these games because the older Resident Evil game. Well, I mean, really, when you think about it, survival horror games are usually on the shorter side. Like they're not long games unless you're replaying them over and over again.
Yeah.
Uh, so I've been doing this thing where the classic Resident Evil games don't have subtitles either, and they're kind of hard to see if you're playing out, when you're out and about. So I've been playing them at nighttime, and it's been fine. Because playing the OG Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, it's been fine. Playing
Yeah.
Resident Evil Survivor next to my sleeping wife is so hard because there were so many times I had to stop myself from laughing out loud because of the absurdity.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so like first off, as soon as I figured out how the controls work, for those of you who don't know who what this game is, it's a light gun game that is controlled by with the D-pad, and you can only you can't go diagonally. It's kind of like how the tank controls are in 1, 2, and 3, where you can go straight, you can go side, you could turn and go another way, or you could turn around and go that way. But you can't there's no fluid movement. The amount of times I would go through a door and just be surrounded by zombies with no potential way to defend myself right off, other than the handgun has infinite ammo, so you just aim and just spam. Like I was just sitting next to
Spray
Emily
and
while she
pray,
was
man.
asleep.
Spray
Yeah,
and
I
pray.
was. I was just spamming the fire button until nothing was moving anymore. And to the game's credit, it gives you a lot of health. It gives you a lot of health. But also to the game's credit, there's no save system. You can't save the game. You can't save at all. You have to do it in one go. You have to go and what pisses me off even more about that is that at the main menu there's an option to load game. Load what? You can't save the game. Why? I don't understand why there's a load game option when you can't save it.
To be fair, I think you're forgetting You're forgetting the old creed of the Dark Souls players. Get good, son.
Well, that's not the thing. I could have, okay, I could have finished the game if I wanted to, but okay, I looked up on how long to beat, and it's about the game is less than 2 hours long. After an hour, I couldn't make myself do it anymore. Okay, in all of the classic Resident Evil games, when you're fighting anything but a zombie, it's hard to hit them because you're working with the tank controls.
Right.
What happened to me is I walked through the door, I walked through a door and I saw 4 dogs and I was like, no. I closed the game.
They wanted hugs.
And even the tyrant sucked. There's a tyrant. I want to say you find the tyrant after about 20 minutes in the game. And it's so stupid. You go through a door and you're in this long corridor and you can just see a pixel. And you're like, what's that? And it slowly starts to get bigger. And then you're like, oh, it's the tyrant. At the time, all you have is a pistol. I pulled out there's no way to avoid the tyrant. Like, you can't, in Resident Evil Nemesis, we're going to talk about that in a second. There are ways to kind of, dodge around and get around the Nemesis and get where you need to go if you're good enough.
The classic dupe system.
Yeah, but there's no way you could have done it here. So he's still really far away. So he's like, all right, I'm about to start shooting him. Handgun is all you have, but it has unlimited bullets, right?
Right.
I shot this tyrant, for about 20 seconds, and he did not die. And then he was on me. And it was just the stupidest animation of him hitting me while I was shooting him. And it was like every 5 bullets, it was 1 punch. And then after about 6 punches, he got in on me, and I was about to die. He finally drops. Okay, yeah. You fight him at least 6 times in the next 20 minutes. And there's one part, and that's another thing. The writing in this game, which is awful. You walk into a room, and you can see the elevator, but before you push the elevator button, you can look, and you can see this big hole in the wall. And if you examine the hole, it says a big creature probably made this. And I was like, I bet it's the tyrant. And I walked over and I pushed the button, and sure enough, I turned around, and the most awkward animation, not even PS1 you can't blame it on the PlayStation 1 on this either. It was so bad. He was glitching, so his arms were swiggling around his body as he was coming through it's like he came through a portal. At this point, I had the shotgun, so it was better. But I don't know how much further I would have. Honestly, I don't know how much further I would have actually gotten with how, because it took all the shotgun bullets I had to down him once, and I didn't have any more. So I can only imagine if I'd have played for another 10 minutes, I would have had another fight where it would have been the classic arcade game over screen. And that's when I would have figured out that there was no save and there was no loading, and I would have quit anyway. Yeah, that's just great game. Great game. If you have a way to allegedly play games on old games, you should definitely try it. Allegedly.
I mean, I could. To be fair, I live in a country where no copyright just really can't touch me. So,
wait, seriously?
What do you think? American lawyers going to come here and be like, "Oh, you can't play that"?
Well, I would assume there would have been something over there that would have prevented it.
Oh no! Do you know how it started gaming? My sister's boyfriend at the time actually brought in a little put in an emulator on my PC for a bunch of Sega and Neo Geo games.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was over 200 games, and that's how I started playing games. Also, he installed Croc.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and StarCraft, and that's how I started gaming.
Yeah, you see, allegedly, when I was younger, when I allegedly found out about emulators, that was how I played, allegedly, all of the Naruto Ninja Council games on a laptop.
Were those good? Like I never
No,
actually got to play them.
no, they were so bad. But as a kid, I was like, they're free. So I remember the first Ninja Council was it looked horrible, first off, but then it was loosely based off of the Naruto storyline. And you could do certain techniques where like there were failed techniques and there were successful techniques where if you did the right button prompts, you would do like, the Uzumaki barrage, or if you failed the button prompts, he would just do the fart.
Yeah.
And if you if you got to the part where you fought Kiba, if you did the fart, that was the way to kill him in one hit. It was so stupid. If you get the chance, you should just look up the graphics of Naruto Ninja Council 1, and Jesus Christ, they're bad.
Well, it's a good thing about I'm on my PC.
Yeah, go ahead and give that a look. Uh, yeah, why? Okay, I'll wait here.
Okay, no, I'm looking at him.
Oh no.
It's what I expected from the GBA. I'm not gonna lie.
And there were other ones where like the techniques, like the one hit techniques, make sense. Like I I'm pretty sure if you used uh I think it was if you used Chidori, or I guess in this game, I don't remember if you, there was one in it. I think if you used Chidori against Gaara, it was a one hit kill. And it was stuff like that, but the games were so bad. Ninja Council 2 was better. Uh I think the best one that came to America, I think it was Ninja Council 3. And there was like a bunch of playable characters, but it was just like these weird missions, like it was just random missions basically. Like think how kind of like how Monster Hunter works, where you would take a mission from the main menu and you would pick a character and it would be like kill 20 sound ninja or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was all side scrolling and it didn't look good. Oh, train on my end.
Don't worry, no train here.
So what now?
There's no train here. Don't worry.
Oh, no train. Well, more or less for the people listening. But yeah, so that was Resident Evil Survivor.
Yeah, and a little side tangent on Naruto apparently.
Yeah, but that's just that's for the people.
Yeah.
People like Naruto.
People need to know.
Believe it. But okay, so I also played Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Have you? I think I've asked you. Have you played any of these?
Okay, I have not. I've actually tried to, but it's just like the tank controls just don't work for me. I can't do it. I
Okay,
get
so
frustrated.
I am the same way, and I had an argument on this on the second episode of the podcast where I said that Resident Evil 1 surprisingly ages way better than Resident Evil 2, and I'm going to throw Resident Evil 3 in here now too, because in Resident Evil 1, it's rare that you're fighting anything besides zombies. There are the dogs, and there's the spiders are pretty easy to hit.
The hunters.
Yeah, the hunters are there too, but I feel like Resident Evil 2 and 3 have way more enemies that are really hard to hit with tank controls, and they're all and just as far as the zombies, there's a lot more in those two games. I got so I will 1000% admit I rage quit Resident Evil 3, and I just looked up a summary on YouTube because Nemesis, for some reason I thought that Nemesis moved around slow in the original one, and that they had just ratcheted him up in the remake and made him super fast, and that's it. Because in the remake he's launching himself around, he's running, he's crazy. And I thought that he was slow in the original Resident Evil 3. And the first time he started running, I was like, oh, I'm not going to finish this one. Because there's a section, it's right after the restaurant, pretty much right after you meet Carlos for the first time. You go outside, and he's just there. He's following you. And after running, because I mean, I'm trying to run. I don't know where I'm going. I'm trying to figure out where I need to go, and he's just punching me every time. Every time I load into a new screen, it waits like a second. When you get like a screen over from wherever you came in from, he
Yeah.
busts through the door and he runs at you and he punches me down. Or if he doesn't punch me, he picks me up and does that little weird tentacle thing with his hand. And
We call
I
that
just
hentai.
couldn't. I've seen enough to know where this is going. But yeah, like I couldn't do it. And I'm playing right now. I'm working on the next episode of the Resident Evil Talk, and I'm playing Code Veronica, and that one's a lot better.
Yeah.
The graphics look better, and it still has tank controls. And believe me, it's got some weird mechanics we're going to talk about in that episode. But Jesus Christ, Resident
Those
Evil, the original trilogy, I played them so y'all didn't have to. But definitely go play Survivor. That game's great.
best game. 11
And,
out
and
of 10.
and the thing that really excites me, Leo, is after I beat Resident Evil Code Veronica, there's a second Resident Evil Survivor. It's Resident Evil Survivor 2 Code Veronica. So I'm assuming that it's gonna be just the plot of Code Veronica 2 again, but with the incredible gameplay of Resident Evil Survivor.
What else do you want in your life?
Man, bring back Resident Evil Survivor. Get Resident Evil Survivor 3 on you know what? Let's just put it on iPhone and we're gonna gyro controls.
But you need to get the Riders of House of the Dead.
Oh yeah, House of Dead Overkill.
Yeah.
The best one.
Yeah. Imagine that combo. You there, man? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. That I'd gotten a phone call coming through and it kind of I guess Anchor was like, "Okay, we're done here."
Yeah,
So
apparently.
so yeah, so in the hierarchy of the classic Resident Evil ranking system, it goes as follows. At number 4, we've got Resident Evil Survivor, and it's lucky to be there. It, I had briefly toyed with the idea of putting it at number 10, even though there's 4 games on the list. Number 3, I'm putting Nemesis there, and then number 2 is number 1, and number 1 is number 2. And as far as the villain rankings go, because I'm ranking the villains too, Nemesis is hands down the best one. So he's going to be at number 1, and then William Birkin is going to be 2, and then Wesker is number 3, and then for Capcom putting out this game, Resident Evil Survivor, they're the villain. So Capcom is the villain for number 4.
I think you should put them number 1 for making that game.
You know what? They are the worst. But if I do that, then they're gonna beat every. There's no greater sin, so no one will beat them.
That's the point. They did
It's just-
the damage in real life.
And then next episode when I do this, I'm gonna look and I'm gonna be like, okay, well, Capcom did it again with Survivor 2 because I doubt it's any better. So it's gonna be Capcom twice. Oh God. So before we get out of here, and before Anchor decides to kick us out again, we're gonna talk about Resident Evil 7, which this one you have just watched playthroughs of this one, right?
Yeah, I watched plenty of playthroughs of it.
Okay, so basically, this is a different ranking, so just keep up with us. Right now, this ranking is leading the modern Resident Evil engine game. So they're going to be their own list for a while. So it's going to be Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake, Resident Evil Village, and then Resident Evil 4 remake.
When it comes out.
When it comes out, yeah. So but Resident Evil 7. What'd you think about Resident Evil 7?
I mean, I really actually like from what all I saw was basically atmosphere wise, amazing. I like
Yeah,
the house. I like the whole place. My like the biggest issue that I really just didn't feel like playing is just like enemy variety.
yeah.
Cause yeah, Black Mold Dude, pretty interesting. Well,
Hmm.
Mold Dude in all fours, okay. Fat Mold Dude, yeah, you're losing me. Mold Dude with like buff arms, yeah, you lost me.
Yeah, see, I really liked Resident Evil 7 until you beat uh Marguerite. Was that her name?
Yeah,
After that, the game just completely fell off the rails for me, and I didn't like it anymore. Uh, because after that, you're pretty much only fighting Lucas, and when you're done with Lucas, you go on, and there's a whole the whole ship segment. I hated. I hate it. Uh, and I didn't really enjoy the. I would say I didn't enjoy 90% of the DLCs because there were quite a few.
yeah, there were a
Uh,
lot actually.
there were a lot of little mini DLCs. Like there was one where you're basically doing the escape room with Lucas. Then there was another one where you're basically doing escape route from Marguerite. Uh,
It was like
and
the score attack one was Jack's birthday.
yeah, yeah, I remember that one now.
The survival thing where like you have to collect scrap.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that one.
There's a blackjack one.
The black. Okay, I remember Blackjack now. Yeah. See, I'm glad you're here because I remember none of those.
Yeah, I have way too good a memory for video games. I don't know why. Um,
Y-
there's the Zoe in like Zoe like when
Oh yeah, basically the prequel to Resident Evil 7.
yeah, that one.
Okay, I liked that one. That one was okay.
Yeah, that one actually looked pretty cool. Then there's obviously well,
I,
the most
the Chris
southern
Red.
thing we could find,
I'm sorry,
fighting
say what now?
gators
Okay,
with your
yes,
bare
that
hands.
that was the best one by far. The Chris one was fine, but the Gator one, that's where it was at. You literally, for those for those of you listening that don't know, it's literally you play as one of the Jack Baker's brother, and the whole game is literally about you go around and you fight gators with your bare hands. The mold, no match with your hands. You're just walking around yeeting fools into the swamp. And you don't have your your typical Resident Evil health items. You're just picking up worms and crawfish and eating them raw
Ah,
as a
it makes you
true.
feel like you're back. You're playing just a game right at home.
And you know what? I guarantee you, anybody that doesn't live anywhere close to Louisiana played this game, and they're like, "Man, we were right about Louisiana. Let's honey cancel the tickets."
To be fair, I think we know a couple people like that.
Not raw. I don't know anybody that just walks up to a crawfish hole, picks one out, and eats it, shell and all.
I'm pretty sure I know a guy who probably did that a couple times in their life.
Well, it's not me. I can guarantee it. I take one look at that, and I'm like, throw it in the pot, and then I'll eat it.
I know you. I know you wouldn't. But then
Yeah.
again, we know people who are willing to fight gators.
We do know. We definitely know people that don't fight gators. It's the
Yeah.
crawfish thing that's a little iffy. But yeah, so I mean, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. See, you can get to cook.
Yeah.
But so for today's ranking, we've got Resident Evil 7 because that's all there is, and then are we gonna say the Bakers are the villains, or are we gonna say the little girl's the villain?
I would have to say the little girl's a villain because technically they're all being manipulated by her.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess we could do a little asterisk and say creepy little girl slash evil bakers
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds fair.
because I don't like the little. I don't like the little. I think the little girl's a stupid villain, but Jack
I-
Baker is terrifying.
I have a better one. Creepy redneck family.
You know what? I'll accept it. So number one is the creepy redneck family from Resident Evil 7. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for coming on. And if you guys like this, tune in at another time, and we're gonna do more Resident Evil reviews. Thanks for watching, or not
Thanks,
watching. Listen,
everybody.
you get it. Bye.
Be seeing you.